So I have the honor of introducing Michelle Herman. Michelle is author of the poetry chapbook Victory Boulevard, available for sale after the reading. And this is her first public announcement. She just signed a contract with Regal House to publish her novel, Save the Village. In addition to poetry and fiction, she writes essays and articles and translates French songs. Among other proud distinctions, she is recipient of 2 Willis Barnstone Translation Awards, was a semifinalist for the Raymond Carver Prize, and has a plaque on her Connecticut High School's Wall of Honor. She works as a developmental editor. She is a devoted writer, studio teacher of tutorials and level 1 and memoir, both online. Michelle.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Special shout out, as always, to my students, present and former, and maybe future. I'm going to read some poems. This first one, a friend and I waged a kind of a bloodless coup after our 30th high school reunion, and we took over and we got very, very serious. And so this is called Trying to Find the Kids, and all the poems are sort of fall under that rough umbrella. Trying to find the kids. I was trying to find the kids I grew up with, as if rounding us back up could reset whatever was awry, as if finding the boy with the cowlick who lived in the little white house without a mother to say, there, let me make it better. And finding the heavy, shy girl who was always kind, the girl I still see when I hear moo-moo or tent dress, might heal us all from the accident of being born, whoever it was we were. I was trying to find the girls with their dramas, their catechism, their rabbit's foot keychains, trolls and lifesaver rolls, and the boys in their shirts of every plaid and stripe, and their faint smell of farts. I tried especially for the kids from the Great Migration, the hardest of all to find. And nights when I was too pumped up to sleep, I was calling roll in my head like the bus monitor at our school in the woods as the kids climbed the high yellow bus to travel back down the town's spine to their projects by the tracks. I was scrolling and clicking every evening, though I had plenty of other things to do, my own kids and husband and other rooms in my actual life to tend to. I kept on even when the site started to get creepy and offer criminal records for a fee. And some evenings I got lucky. I found the boy who snapped the back of my training bra. I found one twin in Idaho and one from another set in California, twin twofers. I couldn't say what drove me to call this big do-over, but I kept trying as if they were my ducklings who'd strayed, trying though many had died and others left no trail, trying though I suspected nostalgia would turn out to be a shallow friend with little to offer when the pleasantries end. And then it happened. We were together in a room again, those of us who consented to be found. I never found the motherless boy with the cowlick, but I did find the kind moo-moo girl. But her sister-in-law said she was a recluse in New Hampshire with no internet, and she didn't write me back when I wrote her. A me I could too easily imagine having become with 10 more pounds and a nudge in a dark direction. We were together again in a big room, but it was summer, and there were no fiberglass trays, no PA, just big round tables with tablecloths and silverware, and not nearly as much hair. And we hugged and exclaimed, and we sat and we ate. But I couldn't stop circulating. I needed to talk to everyone at every table, many of them for the first time. And what I wanted to say was, there. It does feel a little bit better now. Tell me it does. Okay, and this one is called A Boy Called Pretzel. He was a scrawny kid who at 12 seemed bent with burdens. When the teacher passed back our graded tests, he would look at his, make a fist, and pound his forehead just above the glasses. Of course he wore glasses, the LBJ kind, a size too big, sometimes taped together. He had a head full of batting averages and wore a tweed cap like a Depression-era newsboy. Plaid shirt with short sleeves wide enough for a dozen of his arms. dungarees cinched in around his middle, long hanging tongue of belt, the leather worn around the tightest hole, a bounce in his step from feet that hit puberty before the rest of him and made him look always about to fall on his face. He paid attention, caused no trouble, got good grades, so we had no idea what made him bang his head. We watched him bang, but I don't remember ever thinking, poor kid. He was just pretzel, the way the girl with the stutter stuttered, the way the kids who couldn't sit still had ants in their pants. The ropes. The ropes were mounted on the ceiling of the gym, several stories high. Winter inevitably came, and with it, indoor gym and the gymnastics unit. I was not flexible. I was not strong or brave. The last thing I wanted to do was tumble in public when the balance beam, horse, and parallel bars took up their stations, and the mats were hauled out and the ropes released from their hooks with a thunk. But Jeannie O'Brien, the girl in the wheelchair with the time-stopping stammer, the girl with the birdie bones, the baby grin full of crooked teeth, the mother who hovered even in junior high, Jeannie whose thin brown hair was always freshly beribboned, Jeannie who I lost track of after 7th grade, who haunts me to this day because I mostly tried to ignore her, because there would have been too steep a price to pay to be one of the girls who volunteered to push her wheelchair from class to cafeteria and girls' room and back, turning my back on all the jockeying that went on among the pretty and able-bodied who could easily afford to be thoughtless and sometimes cruel. Jeannie would be carried by Mr. Doobie, the gym teacher, who could also be cruel, to the rope, and Jeannie would place her spindly fingers on the fat braid and climb with the speed and the economy and the silence of a spider, like verticality's wizard, like gravity's nose thumber, like nobody's victim. And this one is a prose piece, and it goes out in memory of Elaine Friedenberg. The difficulty of getting from one place to another. In dreams, I regularly find myself in a newly reorganized subway station. The staircases seem longer and are pushed up high against walls, like drain pipes or hornets' nests. Sometimes we are expected to hop onto a moving car, which everyone else already knows how to do. The Times Square transportation hub has a chute, like something workers might toss hard-shelled luggage into. But to get to ground transport, we have to toss ourselves in. Sometimes a loop through eastern Queens, almost to the Long Island border, is required to get between 2 points in Manhattan. Cars are open like a pickup or a cattle car, and they don't look clean, but it's hard to tell because the light in the new system is surprisingly meager. My old friend, whose cancer has traveled to her brain, has similar dreams, but hers occur while sitting awake at her kitchen table in New Jersey. She's quite concerned about obstacles to travel. That is, the obstacles she believes her visiting friends are up against, especially when the Queen of England is in town gumming up traffic. I actually think she makes a good point. Human history has often turned on the difficulty of moving our bodies from one place to another. In the subway, I grow angry at the engineers who devised the new system and frightened at my inability to find my way through the ill-lit corridors. I don't remember this many hairpin turns or sudden reversals of direction, but I'm a good citizen. I try to accept the new order. My friend is blind now. She used to say blindness was her worst fear. We don't talk about fears anymore. We talk about our kids and our memories. She's never had a good memory, and we've always joked that I am her portable memory vault. We sit in her bright suburban kitchen while the home health aide from Guatemala comes to replace the one from the Caribbean. Conversation meanders. I follow my friend's logic where it leads because she speaks in a voice I know nearly as well as my own, sounding much the same as she did when we were 13 and playing Rummy 500 on her bedroom floor. The new system is quieter, I'll grant it that, but the lines have generic names or 3-digit numbers like interstates, What, I want to know, was wrong with 1, 2, 3 and ABC? My friend is concerned about whether I'll get home to the city safely. She tells me her friend from England who visited recently got stuck for 8 days on her way home in an intercontinental traffic jam involving officious customs agents and a lake in the Poconos. I assure her that for me, it's just a half hour on the DeCamp bus line that takes me straight to Port Authority. Port Authority has such a soothing, everyday ring. She says, "That's great news. You can come back again for another visit." I'd like to explain better how eerie it is down here on the platform, but the connections between the half of the brain that makes pictures and the half that makes words are spotty. My friend, she listens. She doesn't judge. That's one of the reasons I've been friends with her since we were 13. Okay, and a bit of a change of a mood. Self-portrait with General Hospital, a sonnet. Taciturn Dr. Hardy was paralyzed and ordered his toes, "Move, damn you." And head nurse Jessie, considered wise, was too dim-witted to say, "Scram, you," to her estranged husband Phil when he periodically showed up at her door, claiming to be broke or terminally ill, and not always the same actor as before. So easy to scorn that girl of the 70s, plotzed on the sofa, letting her brain rot. Craving knowledge, drunk on stories, she still remembers every plot. It was all that was on offer, and so she became a scholar of lives played out between all temperature and ring around the collar. And I have one more. This one is going to appear in the next issue of the Hudson Review, along with one other poem by me. And now it's summertime, and so I grew up in a town on the Long Island Sound in Connecticut, and the Catholics had a pool club called Ascension, and the Wasps had a golf country club called Shorehaven, and we Jews had the Jewish Community Center, which we all called the Center, which all our New York-born parents called the Centa. So this is my love song to the Centa. A buoyant future for us all. It's 77 WABC degrees under the southern New England sun, and the lifeguards are twirling their whistles as they watch over the rices and the grosses and every single mittenthal. Yahweh, look down upon your creation and bless the white bathing caps and clicking needles and modesty panels of the mothers. Bless the new crop of topless toddlers and the perfect tan torsos of the teens and the expert movements of the Mahjong ladies on the lawn. Bless the Siegel brothers who have signed out a catamaran and skim the shimmering sound. Bless all that's warm and salty, seaweed and sweat, and Hebrew national knockwurst sizzling on the snack bar grill. Bless the undersides of Ashkenazi thighs, extruding through nylon webbing. Most of all, bless the fresh air kids who've arrived from their projects on the Bruckner Boulevard, where the Bronx is burning. And bless this enormous turquoise pool at the center, which renders us all equally cool and weightless. Thank you.